Hey everybody, I thought I would do something a little different in this video and share with you the books I'm currently reading. I've got a stack of 15 books here, which is admittedly a lot to be working through at one time, but I am slowly making my way through these books. And hopefully we'll have several of these authors on the Data Over Dogma podcast soon as I can figure out how to get my schedule to work. So in no particular order, first we have James Barker, Writing and Rewriting the Gospels, which is a rather slim volume that basically discusses James' theory for how the Gospels came together, and he holds that they were written one at a time with each using the existing Gospels as a source. So Mark was written, Matthew was written using Mark as a source, Luke was written using Matthew and Mark as a source, and then John was written using Luke and Matthew and Mark as a source. So that's been an interesting book so far. Then we have Ancient Slavery and its New Testament Context by Christy Cobb, edited by Christy Cobb and Catherine Shaner, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's discussing slavery in the New Testament and how slavery was conceptualized, how slavery was discussed and described in the New Testament text, which is, I'm not very deep into that one, but is a very good one. Next is a new book called Transbiblical, New Approaches to Interpretation and Embodiment in Scripture, another edited volume that is going to discuss transgenderism and its relationship to the Bible and how people are and can read the Bible through a trans-informed lens. Another one that I have not gotten deep into yet, but has been fascinating, and hopefully we will have as many of the editors on the podcast as we can sometime soon. I just got this in the mail the other day and have only just cracked it open. Lower Than the Angels, A History of Sex and Christianity by Dermot McCulloch, and this is the author of A History of Christianity, the First 3,000 Years, which is a wonderful, very sweeping discussion of Christian history. It's a fascinating topic, obviously. Then we have a book by a Swedish author, Hannah Stroman, The Bibles of the Far Right, which is about how the European far right uses Bibles and Bible translations to structure power and advance their interests. So I'm excited to get deeper into that one. Then we have one from the Cognitive Sciences, Armin Schulz's It's Only Human, The Evolution of Distinctively Human Cognition, which I believe was just published this year, but this discusses how the cognition that is distinctively human is kind of the intersection of a bunch of different cognitive features that are only incrementally distinct from the cognition of non-humans. So that's been a pretty interesting book so far. Then we've got Andrew Perrin's Lost Words and Forgotten Worlds, Rediscovering the Dead Sea Scrolls, which is going to be talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls, their background, how they have been perceived and deployed in public discourse, and corrects a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of myths, a lot of conspiracies about the Dead Sea Scrolls today. Roger Naum's book in the Old Testament Theology series, The Theology of the Books of Ezra and Nehemiah, is very good, and as soon as we can, I'm hoping to get Roger on the podcast to talk about this. Michael Peppard's new book, How Catholics Encounter the Bible, has been a very interesting read. Michael very intentionally did not call it How Catholics Read the Bible, because they engage with the Bible in a lot of different ways beyond just reading it, but that has been a fascinating read for someone like me who does not know a ton about the Catholic tradition. And then we've got an edited volume by several friends of mine, Geneophobia and the New Testament, Text and Context. I'm hoping to have as many of these editors on the podcast as I can to talk about this book, which not only talks about Geneophobia in the New Testament, but surveys individually every single book of the New Testament, and then some of the apocryphal or pseudepigraphical New Testament texts. And then Justin White's book, The Poetics of Visuality, is one that I recently picked up because it is discussing something that is a focus of my research, how in the ancient world people encountered and engaged with deity and divine agency, and in this book, how they perceived it, how they visualized it and saw it. Dale Allison has a new book, Interpreting Jesus, which is about the historical Jesus, and he's basically going through and talking about a handful of issues related to how we reconstruct the historical Jesus from our interpretations of what's actually in the Gospels. that's been interesting so far. Susan Ackerman, a phenomenal scholar, Women and the Religion of Ancient Israel in the Anchor Yale Bible Reference Library. This is a phenomenal book. Ackerman has had, I think, another Gods, Goddesses, and the Women Who Serve Them is another book that Ackerman recently published, I believe, which is also worth checking out. And then Carol Vanderthorn, who has been a leading scholar in the study of Israelite religion, just published Israelite Religion from Tribal Beginnings to Scribal Legacy, which is, so far, I'm only about a third of the way through it, but Vanderthorn has been a scholar I've gone to and I have cited numerous times over the years in my doctoral dissertation and elsewhere. That's been a very fun book. And then finally, Paula Friedrison's new book, Ancient Christianities, The First 500 Years, has been phenomenal so far. Paula is a phenomenal scholar. I got to know her last year at a conference at Brown University on monotheism that I helped put together, and I'm really enjoying her discussion of ancient Christianities. And if you don't know any of her scholarship, I highly recommend checking out what she has published in the past. So that's what I'm currently reading. To one degree or another, I am working my way through all of these books, trying to better understand a lot of different takes on Hebrew Bible, on early Judaism, on early Christianity, and I thought that might be interesting to some of y'all. So thanks everybody for watching. Thank you so much for your support. And the fit for this video has been Thunder, 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 Cats.